been stopped dead in your tracks by a voice so pure it felt like a direct line to your soul? That's the Jewel effect. You know her, right? Barefoot, folksy vibes, and that incredible voice. Yeah, this woman had the girls crying in the 90s, singing about hands, heartbreak, and hardship. Miss Jewel Kilcher. That's right, the original yodeling queen of sad girl anthems before it was even a thing. But her life was way messier than you might think. Or you could say juicier, depending on where you're standing. So buckle up, buttercups, because we're about to spill the Alaskan-sized tea on a barefoot icon who went from living in her car to serenading the world. Forget your perfectly polished pop stars, because today we're diving headfirst into the wonderfully weird and wildly talented world of Jewel. Trust me, this is one soulful saga you won't want to miss.
I never thought I'd get a record deal. I never thought I'd make an album or that my stuff would be good enough to, and I still have.
Born Jewel Kilcher on May 23, 1974 in Payson, Utah, Jewel grew up in remote Alaska, like no indoor plumbing, singing for tourists to survive, remote.
6 aunts who shoed their own horses, trained their own horses, felled their own trees, built their own homes.
But hold on, because this wasn't some silent, isolated existence. Oh no!
Alaska is a very special place, as you know. It's a pioneer state with pioneer spirit.
Her parents, Ats and Nedra, were a singing sensation in their own right. Can you imagine family karaoke night in a cabin with no plumbing? And little Jewel? She was thrown into the spotlight practically before she could walk. By the age of 6, she was up on stage, belting out those yodels. Can you even yodel? I've tried to yodel, and let's just say it sounds more like a cat being stepped on. Not quite the same vibe. But Jewel? Apparently she was a natural. Then comes the divorce drama. Parents split, and suddenly it's a father-daughter duo hitting the local circuit. Hours of practice, honing that incredible voice. Talk about dedication. Forget after-school cartoons. Jewel was learning the discipline of a seasoned performer. You know what they say? Practice makes perfect. And in Jewel's case, it made platinum records. And girl, when I say her childhood was rough, she later revealed that it wasn't just hard financially, there was abuse at home too.
I moved out at 15 and I knew that wasn't a great idea. I came from an abusive home.
We'll get back to that tea in a moment. A fiercely independent Jewel snagged a scholarship to some fancy arts academy in Michigan. Opera lessons, guitar strings, and the birth of those oh-so-Jewel-esque songs. And get this, her hometown rallied together like a bunch of supportive, snow boot-wearing angels and raised $11,000 to help her go. Talk about a community believing in their girl. It's enough to make a cold heart melt. By the time she turned 18, she was out here living in a van in San Diego, literally homeless while chasing her dreams.
And saying the truth, that I was homeless, that I was shoplifting, that I was having panic attacks.
Meanwhile, some of us can't even survive a Wi-Fi outage. But Sis wasn't going to be stuck forever. Jewel had a voice, sweet, raw, folky. And when she started performing at local coffee shops, people noticed. Those coffee shop gigs were about to change everything.
The end of being homeless. It was about a year of being homeless. I was singing in a coffee shop.
Her raw talent, those poetic lyrics that made us all feel deeply, and that voice. People were hooked. Apparently, the Interchange in Pacific Beach was the place to be if you want to witness the birth of a superstar. And wouldn't you know it, music industry bigwigs started sniffing around. Cue a full-blown record label bidding war.
Every label tried to sign me. It was very, very surreal. I had no idea something like that could happen for me.
Everyone wanted a piece of this Alaskan songbird, and who won the prize? Atlantic Records. The rest, as they say, is platinum-selling, barefoot history. In 1995, Jewel dropped her debut album, Pieces of You, and at first, it flopped. But she kept grinding, opening for little unknown artists like Bob Dylan and Neil Young. Then boom! Radio stations picked up her song, Who Will Save Your Soul? And suddenly everyone and their mama was sobbing in their living rooms. Pieces of You became a whole phenomenon, selling over 12 million copies in the US alone. That album had hits for days. Who Will Save Your Soul? You Were Meant for Me. Foolish Games. Sis had people out here romanticizing their painful love lives with a guitar in hand. By the late 90s, Jewel was it. Grammy nominations, magazine covers, MTV appearances, you name it. She even sang at the freaking Super Bowl in 1998. Her second album, Spirit in '98, huge. Like 4 times platinum huge in the US alone. The single Hands was all over the radio, making us all feel deeply and maybe a little bit hand-obsessed. It was a global smash, hitting the top spots in Canada and Australia too. Now, things got interesting with 0304 in 2003. Our Jewel decided to ditch the folksy vibes for some pop and, dare I say, dance music. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard chart, her highest debut ever. Intuition was a legit bop, even topping the dance charts. You gotta keep 'em guessing, right? Other albums like Goodbye Alice in Wonderland and Perfectly Clear did absolutely that. Jewel definitely had her country era because Perfectly Clear hit number 1 on the country charts. Bottom line, early albums equals mega hits. Later, still charted well, showed her range, and she sold tons of records. Jewel's a survivor, folks. Let's talk trophies. 4 Grammy nominations, but no wins, which is kinda criminal, not gonna lie. MTV Video Music Award nominations, American Music Awards nominations, inducted into the Alaska Women's Hall of Fame. Yes, that's real. The industry might have played her by not giving her a Grammy. Her record sales and influence were loud. While Jewel has always given off a calm and sweet energy, her life behind the scenes had its share of serious challenges. First up, the daddy issues. Jewel eventually aired out the family drama in her memoir. She revealed that her father was physically and emotionally abusive when he drank. Not just a tough upbringing, but a truly painful one. She also revealed that she was sexually harassed starting at just 8 years old, a trauma that shaped much of her early life. Those difficult experiences added to the hardships she faced before fame, including periods of homelessness and instability while she was working to break into the music industry. Before she ever set foot on a big stage, she was already surviving battles most people never see. And if that wasn't enough, her own mom, who was supposed to be managing her money, allegedly stole millions from her. Yep, her mother, Lenidra, who also served as her business manager, allegedly embezzled over $100 million from her. Jewel only discovered the betrayal in her 30s, and by then, despite her commercial success, she was millions of dollars in debt. When Jewel confronted her about it, her mother didn't apologize. She disappeared. Yep. Ghosted her own daughter like a bad Tinder date. Imagine building an empire from nothing and realizing your own mother was the villain in your origin story. The emotional fallout from that discovery wasn't just financial. It deeply affected her mental health and reshaped her life. She would later pour those emotions into her 2015 album, Picking Up the Pieces.
And I started writing very honest songs, very revealing songs, and taking big risks about being very honest about
which she described as a direct sequel to her raw early work. Then there were the financial struggles. Even after selling millions of albums, Jewel said she almost went broke in the 2000s because of all the shady money management behind her back. At one point, she basically had to rebuild her entire finances from scratch. How do you sell 12 million records and still have to hustle for rent? It's giving new money, bad people around you energy. And let's not forget about the music industry beef. Some folks in the industry just didn't get her. They clowned her for her mix of poetry, yodeling, and folksy pop weirdness. But Jewel, she never let the haters throw her off her path. She swerved the drama with that sweet Alaskan smile and maybe kept a dagger tucked behind her back just in case. More recently, in 2025, Jewel found herself in hot water again. She performed at Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s Make America Healthy Again inaugural ball, an event that was tied to Donald Trump's second inauguration. Needless to say, a lot of her fans, especially those in the LGBTQIA+ community, were disappointed and angry. Given Kennedy's whole anti-vaccine reputation and the fact that Trump had the country split like a bad wig, the backlash was instant. Jewel tried to clean it up, saying she only performed to raise awareness for mental health and that she meant no harm. And while some folks appreciated the apology, a lot of people were still giving her the side eye. Honestly, it was one of those, the damage is done, but thanks for the effort moments. Last but not least, the relationship tea. Jewel dated a few high-profile names quietly, but her biggest relationship was with rodeo cowboy Ty Murray. They tied the knot in 2008 after almost a decade together and had a son. But by 2014, it was a wrap. They divorced pretty drama-free, at least publicly. But word on the street is they had some major differences when it came to lifestyle and fame. Honestly, it's giving grew apart. We grew apart, but make it country. But if you thought she was just a singer, Jewel is like, I'm a multi-hyphenate. She dropped a poetry collection, A Night Without Armor, that sold like hotcakes. She also starred in movies like Ride with the Devil and even played June Carter Cash in a Lifetime movie. Honestly, she ate that role. Jewel's also been deep into charity work, mental health advocacy, homeless outreach, and helping at-risk youth.
Inner World, we finally just launched in November. It's a virtual community where you can have peer-to-peer.
No scandals there, just a good heart. So, where's Jewel today? Still singing, still writing, still living that peaceful, earthy girl life. In 2022, she dropped a new album called Freewheelin' Woman. Still soulful, still yodeling her heart out, and still unapologetically staying in her own lane. As for the numbers, Jewel is now 51 years old, and her estimated net worth is sitting around $14 million. Not bad for a girl who once had to choose between gas and food just to survive. From homeless to Hollywood, from heartbreak to hit records, Jewel did what needed to be done. She's the blueprint for soft girl era survival with a sprinkle of badass.